Hello, lovelies. Hollie Hope here with the Beauty Perspective. And today I am bringing up a topic that comes up quite often in my practice, and that's the difference between religion and spirituality. So religion is more of a container where people have one common thought, one common vocabulary, one common belief, where spirituality tends to be more of an individualized experience, very much outside of a box, very much expressive. In religious format, there's a structure, there's formal rituals that will attune us to a specific way of being. Where in spirituality, there can be an array of different types of rituals, even though many spiritual practices have common rituals, which is a separate video. The format of it may be offered, however, the ritual itself is 100% unique and personalized to our own experience. Religion also has the understanding that God is something outside of ourselves with a plan that we are part of. So we are part of God, we are one with God, where spirituality teaches us that we are the gods that created ourselves and our being and our own experience. And also in religion, we have a teacher who will interpret the mysteries and information of our purpose of life and how to operate in this human experience. And if we look at spirituality, we have that we are the ones teaching ourselves as we explore experiences and we find preferences in allowing ourselves to see that there's no good or bad. It's a matter of experience and preference and choosing the preference that aligns with us. So it's much more of a change that evolves as we evolve, where religion doesn't change. It has the same format that continues throughout different cycles and different human experiences. We are also taught in religion that the focus is on being a good person or being a good human, so that beyond this life, there is a lot more to be experienced and bliss to come in and sensation. Where in spirituality, we are taught that the experience itself is what life is about. And at the end of this life, this human experience was part of what nurtures and connects us with what is to become. So both of them offer their own uniqueness. One of the commonalities that I do love is that we have understanding that we're all connected. Both religion and spirituality allow us to see that we are all connected through the commonality of being human, of allowing ourselves to be in this delicious experience together. We also have the commonality of being one family, the brothers and the sisters, and allowing ourselves to see each other as ourselves and to treat each other as we would want each other to be treated. It is very, very common for those of us who were in a structured box of religion to turn the box over and stand on it to reach for something more expansive and different. And it's not always a falling away or being misguided by darkness. If we look at the purpose of religion is to allow us to understand that there's something beyond ourselves. There's something greater than ourselves. And it also offers us a chance to want to do the right thing. Now, some religions operate out of shame and guilt, which cause us to not trust our own instincts and not trust ourselves. And so this is going to keep us in a container where we stop our own evolution because we give up and surrender our own power and potential to someone else to know better. And with spirituality, we are very much guided to have all the answers within us, to follow our own intuition, to follow our own instincts, and to allow our instincts to be that of light and love and healing and moving forward to expansion. And within a box, you can find that expansion doesn't open very well. If we are expanding as big as we can, we're going to bump into the sides of that box at some point. At some point, there's a confinement factor that's going to keep us in that small structure. And we tend to dive really deep. I know I did for myself. I dove in and I got as deep into the religious information as I could. I wanted to know everything I possibly could. And I studied and memorized and looking for more nourishment. But as being in a box, you're going to find that at some point it bottoms out. And that's the point when you can take those pieces from the religion and that structure and see what it's like to flip the box over and stand on it as a pillar and a foundation to reach up for something more expansive, something perhaps even new in this experience. Because if we're souls coming back through over and over again in reincarnation, or if we were ancient souls who observed the human experience and had our own first human experience, depending on what you believe in, we find that we are reaching for something more, something expansive, because our soul is meant to evolve. And when we hit a limit of evolution, that's usually when people choose out of religion and into more of a spiritual practice. Now, for me personally, I can say that when I was in a religious practice, I also was able to have my spiritual practice. So this isn't a video saying, hey, everyone, leave religion. It's allowing an illustration and an understanding, or perspective rather, of seeing that you can have the religious structure, but without a deep spiritual connection that personalizes it for you, you're going to find that that box becomes very limiting and can even feel like a trap or a prison, because it's stopping your evolution process. When we find we're stuck in boxes, we tend to loop into the same scenarios and the same experiences. We find that the same emotions keep rising up and going, and the rising up and going, and we don't find that we're actually learning or evolving. So it's through understanding that spirituality and religion are very, very separate, even though they both have spiritual practices. Ultimately, whatever you believe, there is no one way to think or one way to understand how you operate in the beautiful universe. You are a unique individual. And so even the way we interpret things are going to be unique for us based on our experiences, based on our understanding, based on the ways we learn, and how the information is presented can create a construct within ourselves that can even distort the information coming through, whether spiritual or religious. And so it's very important that we connect in with ritual, and we connect in with these practices that allow us to center ourselves and understand more of who we are, so that we can let go of who we're not. And anytime you are in a spiritual or a religious situation where someone is telling you that what your own intuition is speaking to you, what you know yourself to be, and the truth and connection that you feel you've had revealed to for you personally is not correct, or is wrong, or is something that is out of alignment with somebody else's view, it's a very loud warning flag. And as the time to connect in and see what really is fueling your spiritual journey. One of the things that I often do is I ask myself, with this understanding and somebody coming outside of me telling me what to believe or what not to believe, who is this serving? Is it serving somebody else because they now have my worship and my adoration? Is it serving maybe an old version of me so that they get to stay present and I don't have to evolve and I get to be in the guise of safety? Allowing ourselves to see who is benefiting from this. Now, there is a huge difference between connecting with the frequency for spiritual evolution and understanding and getting into the form of worship. So worship is when you surrender over your own God identity, your own self, your own thoughts, your own desires and emotions to another. So we can worship physical things. Like if I'm giving all of my thought and all of my energy into having this fantastic new flashy car, then I'm going to be, in a sense, worshiping that car. And that's where religion talks about worshiping idols comes into play, because I'm giving all of my light essence, all of my God spark, all of the me that exists into this thing that is going to leave me feeling empty and hollow in the end. And possibly a thing that I use so I can get validation and so I can feel like I'm worth living and worth being on this planet. And we can also worship a deity as well. And so that's, again, giving over all of yourself and saying, I will just do whatever the deity tells me to do. And then what happens is we become stuck in this loop where we don't even want to dream anymore. We don't want to express ourselves anymore. All we want to do is please our deity. All we want to do is do as we are told, get the pat on the head, the gold star that says we're good enough and we're going to be happy someday. And if you notice you're stuck in this loop, you'll find it because even when you have that checklist done, and even when you have everything that your religion or spirituality says that you're supposed to have, it actually leaves you feeling like it's still not enough, or you're still not enough. It leaves us feeling like we are inferior in some form. And even if we did get this massive download from spirit, odds are we're going to throw it away and we're going to judge it as just being in our head, or that we're not the type of person who gets to receive that. And so we tend to discredit our own personal revelation and our own personal information coming through because it didn't come through the channels in which we were taught it needed to come through. And so allowing yourself to pay attention to, am I worshiping or am I honoring? Am I respecting or am I giving up the respect for myself as a human divine being that's showing up and being very present? And again, you can have religion and spirituality. It's not a one or another. It's not this or that. It's allowing ourselves to see that this deep connection of personal knowing should be fueled and energized by any practice we're doing, whether a ritualistic practice, a ceremony, or a religious practice. It should bring us more into that oneness and into union. And it should bring us more into ourselves and seeing that this unique expression that is unlike any other expression that's ever been, this one unique human that we are, is a gift. And it has something that can offer the world that no other human can, because no other human can see the world the way you see it. And so allowing yourself to dive into that more of oneness and more of you is going to allow you to feel balanced no matter whether you believe in religions or spirituality, or even if you believe simply in the same religion as the trees. The trees talk to me and I answer. And allowing ourselves to unfold in that way.